Serving as a board member and chief financial officer at Erkunt Tractor and Erkunt Foundry.
So I started my career, as I said, with Philips.
Setting up 9 milk producing companies.
We set up the first 5 companies under NDDB-DS with support from World Bank. India is on a fast track.
Hello everyone, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by World Development Corporation. I'm Sunny Panchuli, uncovering some great achievements and contributions of unsung heroes, inspiring others. In today's show, we are going to explore how professional growth follows when experience is combined with strategy. Our stalwart for today is Mr. Tapash Chakravarty, who has held the position of CFO at 3 companies. At present, he is serving as a board member and chief financial officer at Erkunt Tractor and Erkunt Foundry. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Chakravarty.
Good afternoon, Sunny. It's a pleasure to be in the show.
Great to hear that. All right. So to begin with, Mr. Chakravarty, you have handled some of the most prestigious roles in the finance department of 3 companies as well as a board member at 1. Certainly, spending nearly 3 decades is not enough for this. So what other factors do you owe your success to?
Sunny, so this is quite an elaborate answer. And as you rightly said, 3 decades. So I will try to keep it short and cover all the points. But just to let you know that, these are 2 companies in Turkey, which are the international subsidiaries of M&M. So I'm currently the board member of these 2 companies. So as you asked, prestigious roles. So prestigious roles always, comes with the roles being very challenging. So challenging roles shapes you up and, it helps in your learnings. So that is how I would say that, it also makes you a rounded professional. I mean, once you handle challenging roles and you kind of come out successful, there are huge learnings. So over time, I think, I started my career with Philips, and I have been in multiple locations covering multiple functions in the finance domain, in the IT domain. So it kind of gives you a cross-functional view and a broad view of how the businesses are moving and which function is contributing to the right ways, in the right ways, and which needs improvements. So I have always kind of looked at and finance is over time a business partnering role. So not only do you need the functional expertise, but you also need to have various cross-functional views. So I started my career, as I said, with Philips. I started in Pune, then I was in Mumbai, then I was in Amsterdam, the global headquarters in Amsterdam. Then along my professional journey, I was also an entrepreneur for a couple of 3 years. Then I again came back into the industry, and it was the milk industry with National Dairy Development Board Dairy Services. Then I came into an auto industry, which was auto and farm industry, which is Mahindra and Mahindra. I handled the commercial vehicle business, the construction equipment business, and now I'm handling the farm business, the farm sector, one tractor manufacturing company, and a foundry casting. Castings are the engine covers which go into the tractors. So you will see that, a finance professional typically is industry agnostic. And I think that is what has helped me. And my entire career, I've always been with businesses, which have had numerous challenges, meaning they've been struggling businesses. And fortunately, people have had the faith and trust in me to kind of hand me over those businesses, which were very strategic in nature for the organization. And hence they wanted, the business to come out of the challenges and get into a growth path and profitable path. So that is how I would say that, these prestigious roles, stroke challenging roles have shaped me to become a rounded individual and help me in my career journey. Over to you, Sunny.
Amazing, amazing, Mr. Chakravarty. In fact, starting the show with such insights on a successful career journey is truly amazing. A commendable accomplishment you have made is that of setting up 9 milk producing companies while already managing 5. So, we would love to know more about your planning and attaining this goal. I mean, how do you manage this?
Yeah. I think just an offshoot from the previous answer is, Sunny, that, my mantra in life is, keep it simple and do what is correct. Okay. Now, coming specifically to this question of milk producer companies. So, what you would realize is in the milk industry, I think, earlier we always had cooperatives. To give you an example, Amul is a cooperative. But these milk producer companies, over time, this industry realized that, cooperative industries do not have the right set of processes, governance, etc. in place. Hence, milk producer companies are companies under the Companies Act. So the changes happened in the Companies Act, and that's when we realized, that's when this milk producer companies concept came up. So producer company are companies under the Companies Act, not under the cooperatives, which an Amul is still, right? So what these companies have, we set up the right processes, the right governance structure, and manage it under the Companies Act. Hence, it was very important to do the transition. When I joined NDDB Dairy Services, I think it was in Rajkot. We were kind of trying to set up the producer companies under NDDBDS. So there were these 5 companies which we set up. Typically, the farmers are the shareholders. I will not go into the technical details, but broadly, here the farmers are the shareholders, and this company needs to start giving dividends from the first year itself. So it is not like any other industry, you set up investments and then there is a 2-3 year gestation time. You are getting in investment, getting in capex, setting up the factory, and you typically have 2-3 years or 5 years time for the companies to turn profitable and start giving dividends to the shareholders. This was a different structure. So here we set up the first 5 companies under NDDBDS with support from World Bank. So we had to get the World Bank processes. World Bank was funding these businesses. Once we set it up, I think the next came, Tata Trust wanted to get into this business, and they wanted to set up these milk producer companies. And then they looked at us that, because you are the pioneer in this role, you already have these 5 companies set up, please help us set up more. And that's when, we utilized this experience to set up those dairy services, those producer companies with Tata Trust. So it was as you put it, it was a very challenging role. It was first of its kind, and you needed people with industry experience to understand the right processes, the right governance structure, and the right way to handle and keep it sustainable. So yes, it was I think a very, very challenging role in my career, but we had lots of learnings along the journey. Yeah, over to you.
Absolutely, Mr. Chakravarty. And no wonder the professional milestones you have discussed earlier come only with the responsibilities you have undertaken. It is noticeable that you have always aimed at profitable growth and innovative thinking, while outstanding leadership has always been at play. So you also focus on transformative initiatives. So how do you pull all these things in place? And I mean, how do you set priorities on them?
Yeah, Sunny, I think a very good question that, how do you prioritize and, how do you attack what needs to be set right? So setting priorities, in my view, is clearly a function of how your understanding of the situation and how clearly you can think and act. So typically what happens is that, when you are, as I mentioned, that, I've always been in very, very challenging roles, and companies who've been struggling upfront, or, where we need to set it on track. So that is the time, where your character comes into play, where, you have to have that calm, you have to have that maturity to understand, because, you are carrying people along with you. You're trying to, give them guidance, be a part of their team and set the ball rolling to achieve the desired goal. So what I would say is that, for me, setting up priorities is related to the mantra which I said is, which was, keep it simple and do what is correct. So when you are in a state of chaos or in a state of turmoil, you've to got to kind of, take a step back, understand that, what are the small steps you need to take to overcome your difficulties, and then get those small wins before you get those bigger wins. So I would say that, my experience and having a broader domain understanding and knowledge, like, I mean, as I said, besides your functional expertise, you also need to understand what your cross-functional teams are doing. Try to be empathetic towards the pain they are facing, because typically a front end, the sales marketing team will have a lot of external environments, and the back end, why, the production, the manufacturing, the supply chain will have a lot of back end challenges. So while the demand functions and the supply functions both are there, and you are trying to be a part with them and help them, giving them the right solutions so that they can win the battle in the market, and also create a smooth structure at the back end. So I would say that, clarity of thought and remaining calm and assessing the situation and trying to do simple things to get victory will go a long way in helping the organization and the team. Over to you.
Rightly said, Mr. Chakravarty. All right. So moving ahead, of cross-geographical experience, namely in Europe, the US, as well as Asia. So has this given you the necessary learnings from the boardroom role you are serving currently?
I have been first in the Netherlands with Philips for around 4 years, and currently I am in Turkey. But I have also traveled to various parts of the globe, as you said, the US and of course Asia, to handle different roles. So yes, I think, what this does is, it gives you a broader landscape and a vision and a view of how the other countries are working. Okay. And this definitely shapes you up. Not only do you have the views of your local, like the national, like the Indian context, but you can also have a comparison of how the other countries are moving. Like Netherlands in Amsterdam was the royal headquarters of Philips, where, I was handling a strategic role along with the board of directors there, and giving the company strategic intent, so that, we create long-term plans and achieve and have a view internally of how, which businesses to take forward, which businesses to kind of, nurture, and which businesses to exit. So that view gave me a lot of strength and lot of learnings. And, that's so the shaping of this governance, and how the local regulations are changing. I think I got that view quite early in life. And now, it has really shaped me up to take up the board role, because in that role, you need to have a view of the company, the statutory regulations which are taking in place, the changing environment, and how the company needs to kind of respond to it. So I would say that yes, these various geographical locations, the lot of travel which I did, meeting up with different cultures, meeting up with people with different mindset, thought processes, definitely helps you shape up as a very strong professional. And naturally, you carry this experience into the boardroom if you get that opportunity. Over to you.
Absolutely, Mr. Chakravarty. I'm sure that the information you have shared is handy for someone looking for a directorship option. Further on the same lines as the current function you are handling, Mr. Chakravarty, do you believe whether India's corporate law framework is on a par with the evolving business landscape? Also, if not, then what suggestions do you have or changes you would like to see in this regard?
So, Sunny, this question is so relevant given that, this entire country, or rather the whole globe, has faced a pandemic in the last couple of years. Nobody would have imagined the kind of changes which every corporate, every industry, and every kind of regulations would have had to go through. So your question is very important, and I would say that India is on a fast track, but there are the other countries are also shaping up. It depends on the maturity of the industry, the maturity of the economy, and the maturity of the thought leaders who are leading the organization and leading the country. So every country is not in the same maturity level. India is fairly mature, given that we have in India things are looking good. India is now leading in lot of fronts, and global Indian leaders are have taken up very good roles all across the globe. So India nationally is in a good shape. It is moving in the right direction. Other countries are catching up, but the maturity levels still need to move up. To give you an example, I think Turkey is. I can just speak for Turkey. The economy is very different, and hence I think the regulatory changes, the governance levels, yes, it is there, but I think it is still catching up. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, Mr. Chakravarty. And honestly, each and every turn in your career you have shared on this podcast is really informative. So you have chosen Directors Institute to enable your directorship responsibility digitally. Do you believe, Mr. Chakravarty, that the course materials we provide attempt to bridge gaps between boards, government policies, and technologies? And I expect a very honest answer from you.
Absolutely. I think uh, I was at the stage where I was like you said that now that you've entered the boardroom, how is it that you can contribute more effectively and in a more structured manner? And to be very honest, I think the Director Institute has taken up this course, is trying to shape up, identify such individuals who can contribute, and handling it in a very structured manner, including ESG and the regulatory changes which the boardroom members need to be aware of. So I would say that this is I'm very happy that I've taken up this course, and I was extremely pleased to see that such kind of structured courses and structured way of, see, at this level you do not kind of it's not a classroom for individuals like us, but we need to share our experience and understand from the others experience, while being aware of the statutory requirements, the regulatory requirements. So it's a responsible role, and I think definitely this course will help whoever is going into whoever is taking it up. This it is being it like your question was more related to the digital way of teaching. Yes, absolutely, that's the way the world is moving. So I think this course is shaping up well, and it's a step in the right direction and will help lot many individuals and professionals like me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Tapash Chakravarty, for your time. And we wish you all the best. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Sunny. It was a pleasure sharing my thoughts and views. And thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too, sir. Thank you. Bye.